Building communities completely changed my life, but it took me 9 years to realize that it was my actual calling. And after generating multiple six figures from Facebook groups while barely posting about my business, I finally understood something that changed everything. So here's the truth. I never set out to be a community builder, right? I didn't even know what it was. In 2016, I became a licensed real estate agent, and I was pretty much just doing everything that I was told to do. I was cold calling and sending postcards and posting on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff, right? So for 2 years, I followed that playbook. And you know what? It actually worked. I was making good money. I was closing deals. I was building my business the traditional way. But something just felt off, right? Like I didn't feel like this is what I was supposed to do. See, every real estate coach, every training that I went to, every successful agent was just telling me the same thing over and over. Prospect more, call more people, send more postcards, post more listings, all this junk, right? Junk that actually works. And I did all that for 2 straight years. And it wasn't until 2018, I was just tired of doing everything that other people were doing. So I decided that I wanted to try and start a Facebook group. But here's why I even thought about it. I couldn't really find any group that was created about the local area that I lived in, like my town in Pennsylvania. If I was looking for more information about what was happening, some kind of events or anything that was going on, if I was looking for it, that means other people are as well, right? And honestly, I didn't want the group to be about real estate because real estate is boring. And to be honest, no one gives a shit about real estate unless they're actually looking to buy or sell. So think about it. At any given time, maybe 5% of the population in any community is actively buying a home or selling a home, right? And what about the other 95%? I'm the other 95%. You are the other 95%. They don't care about market updates and interest rates, right? So what I did was I focused on my local community and my local area where I lived. I wanted to create a group that was about sharing things that are actually happening in the community, you know? The new stores, the new restaurants, new developments that are being sprung up, events that were happening, family-friendly things, stuff like that, right? Because that's what I was interested in. And I called it a neighborhood group and not a real estate group. That was very intentional. I wanted people to join because they lived here, not because they needed an agent to help them sell their homes or help them buy. And I posted every single day when I started, sometimes multiple times a day, sharing lost dogs, new restaurants, road closures, whatever was happening. And here's what's crazy. This took time, real time. And I'd wake up early to post and I'd check the group during lunch and I was moderating comments at night, right? Like I was living it. Other agents were out there prospecting and I was posting about farmers markets. And people started joining. First it was, 50 people, and then it was 100, and then it was 500. And by the end of 2019, we had a few thousand members. And I started noticing something. When I'd meet people in town and introduce myself, they would say, "Oh, you're the guy from the Facebook group, not you're that real estate agent." They knew me as the community guy, right? Which is pretty cool. And I just kept posting and moderating and connecting people day after day, month after month, year after year, while other agents were just cold calling. I was building this thing that I didn't fully understand yet. I created the first Facebook page for this area that really took off, and it grew over time with me just staying consistent at it. But here's the thing. I was trying to build my business with this. I thought it would lead to real estate deals, and it did lead to real estate deals, but it turned into something much bigger than that. Looking back, I see what I was really craving, and that was creating connection. In real estate, you spend months with a client, and when the transaction's done, that's kind of it. Look, there are always ways to stay connected with people after. But at the end of the day, they pretty much know you're checking in because you hope they will give you a referral. They hope, or you hope that they will use you when they're looking to buy or sell again. And over the years, I wanted to create connections beyond just that sale. And I never really felt comfortable with it. The whole relationship felt transactional. Even though we built an emotional connection, it still felt transactional. And even when I generally cared about my clients, there was always this underlying thing that I never was comfortable with. They knew I was in it for the commission, right? I wasn't doing it for charity. And I knew that they knew. It made every interaction feel just less real. But there was something that happened around the time that I created this Facebook community. I actually started dabbling with creating video content. Not that fancy stuff, right? I didn't go out and buy a $3,000 camera. Just me talking to my phone, sharing what was happening in town. And I realized something very, very important. I could reach way more people with one video than I could calling people all day. But more than that, people actually wanted to watch the video. They didn't want to hear me call them, right? They weren't interested in that. They wanted to watch the video. They'd comment on it. They'd share about it. They would message me about it and talk to me about it when they saw me in person. The idea of creating video content, putting it out there to the community and bringing people together was awesome. And look, I'm not a natural connector of people, but I found a way to do that through this online community. And when people needed something, they came to this page, right? When there was a dog that was just running around that was lost, they posted it on the page. When someone was looking for a recommendation for a painter or a plumber or a new roof, they posted it on the page, and they still do today. When Hurricane Ida hit in 2021, people needed information fast. They came to this page. We got crushed by it. That hurricane, man, that changed everything for this page, because in 48 hours, we literally grew over 2,500 members. People were feeling desperate. The power was out, trees were down, roads were flooded, and they weren't coming for real estate advice, Like, they needed to know who had power, when power was coming back on, who had generators that they could share, how to get in contact with family members. People were joining from Florida that were worried about their family members up here in Pennsylvania. And those next few days were just focused on connecting people and finding information, right? Families were able to help others find generators. People needed insulin kept cold. The restaurants that were cooking free meals for people, it became like a lifeline for the community. But here's what's really crazy. I didn't understand this at the time, that this was going to be my actual calling. I just knew that I liked connecting people, and I didn't want to be well known. Like, that was never my thing. I'm never that person that just wants to be out there and well known. I just wanted to create this space where other people could connect. There were times when certain things happened, right? People were able to get a job because of the group. Businesses were able to build their business and get more clients. Single parents were able to get food and clothes and other items for their kids. Shit, my cat was lost for 6 days and found by my neighbor. And I found about it through the Facebook page. Real stuff that actually mattered. Each time something like that happened, I got this feeling, right? Like, wow, I'm actually making a difference. I'm not selling a house. I'm making a real difference in people's lives. And over time, that feeling of purpose just developed, and I didn't realize what was happening. I was, really addicted to that feeling, way more than a commission check. So I just kept building it. I kept connecting, and I kept the group growing. But then something started to really bother me. It wasn't until 2024 that I started seeing the cracks in my personal business and real estate. Actually, that's not totally true. The cracks were there earlier. I just kept ignoring them, right? I just wasn't happy with what I was doing. It was nice being able to help people move and to sell their home and to help people invest in real estate, whether it was someone I didn't know at all or friends or family, but I just wasn't finding that purpose that I was looking for. But here's what's really crazy. I was very successful at real estate. I made very good money, over $1 million in the past 9 years, but I just was feeling empty. At this point in my life too, it's really hard to turn back on a career that's provided so much for me. I had young kids at home. My responsibilities were much greater than ever before, and I had a lot to lose. Mortgages, investments, family, all of those things that successful people are supposed to have. So how do you just walk away from that? I just was doubting everything that I was doing at the time, and I was looking for something else. I was looking to make a difference, and I literally said that to my wife, like, I just want to make a freaking difference, man. And honestly, selling houses was not it. But I had built this skill that I was mastering, which was creating communities and video creation as well, that was making a difference. The Facebook groups had grown to about 25,000 people, right? Because I had 2 groups by now. Both of them were thriving. And here's what's wild. I barely ever posted about real estate in them, maybe once a month, if that. But I was getting more business from these groups and my videos than from all of my prospecting combined. So along the way, I also helped create a mastermind at my real estate brokerage that was wildly successful. And this started in early 2019. It was just a Friday morning meeting. I hated the idea of having a sales meeting. So I said, let's create like a mastermind where people can just get together on Friday mornings. But it became something really special. From the time we started, it grew the brokerage significantly in sales and agent count. We went from 16 agents when I first joined in 2016 to 110 at the peak. And from when the time we started the mastermind, it was 80 million in total sales to 225 million in just a few years. But the numbers aren't what mattered. And not only that, it started changing people's lives, like literally changing their lives. They would attend every Friday, and it would help them beyond anything that they were getting elsewhere. Sometimes agents would come in, share a story, they would be crying about it, right? They needed help. And as a group, we would just love on them until they were able to find a solution. This was truly a life-changing thing. I'd leave those Friday meetings feeling alive and ready to go. And then I would go back to my regular real estate work and just feel like, like I just didn't have it in me. From the outside looking in, I had this super successful real estate business, these thriving communities, and everything looked ideal. But I couldn't shake this feeling that I was meant for something else. So I started to explore these feelings of what it would be like to get out of real estate. Something that I really had never thought that I would do. And I went on this journey from like mid 2024 up until now, right? Up until a few months ago, of trying to figure out what my true passion is. And it was crazy because I ended up hiring a coach for my YouTube business. And I had been posting on YouTube for a long time. And this changed everything for me. Just the exposure to what was possible outside of real estate was crazy to me. There were so many opportunities that I would have never seen if I didn't just embark on this path, right? I started watching new videos from new creators, exploring different ways to monetize my knowledge, and these light bulbs just kept going off over and over and over again. But what is really mind-blowing to me is that the answer I was seeking was literally in front of me the whole time. See, helping other small business owners was something that I was already doing in my community. The local plumbers, the restaurant owners, the coaches for this and that, they were seeing what I had built and they were asking questions. And I provided a platform where they could advertise their business once or twice a month as well. And then when they were reaching out, I was showing them how I built these groups, how I created the content, and how I connected without selling. And people would contact me about the videos that I made and ask how I was able to get engagement without being salesy, right? And that's important. And I'd help them for free. And then slowly, my love for video and my love for community building started to make more and more sense. These were not separate things. They were the same. Video was just a tool and community was the outcome. And I started to have this realization like, oh my God, this is what I'm meant to help other small business owners build, right? That I'm meant to help other small business owners build purpose-driven communities so that they can make an impact as well. So instead of me just working with one family and helping them buy or sell, I can help a small business owner create a community around what they're doing, what they're passionate about, that helps hundreds or thousands of people. The math is simple. One real estate deal is one family helped. One business owner with a community is hundreds or thousands of lives impacted. But once I realized like this was my actual purpose, I had a choice to make. And this was a scary one. So I decided this year to make that scary decision, to start a brand new business that is focused on helping other business owners. You know, I'm leaving behind the security of somewhat known income sources and a very known business that I'm very good at to create something with real purpose. And that led me to start Clear Voice Media. So I have had a few different iterations of it over the past 2.5, 3 months, but I landed on one central idea: to help small business owners build purpose-driven communities through video with the help of AI. But I realized something after posting about Clear Voice Media for these past 2.5 months. Instead of just teaching about what I did in the past to build these communities, I actually needed to do something much bigger than that. I needed to prove that it actually works in real time with real stakes. So after a lot of thought, a lot of conversations, a lot of morning runs where I'm just talking to myself over and over, I decided that I'm going to build another community completely from scratch. And not just any community. That's how I came to creating the Empowered Recovery Collective, right? And simply what it is, it's a judgment-free community for anyone that's affected by addiction. Whether you're in recovery, you're supporting someone who is, or you're just fighting to end the stigma. I'm combining one of the most important aspects of my personal life, which is recovery from substance abuse, and creating a brand around that that raises awareness and raises money for an amazing cause. And I'm documenting everything along the way so you can see exactly what I'm doing to build a purpose-driven community. The same strategies, the same approach, but for something that actually saves lives and makes a difference. So since I've been an entrepreneur, I've never felt more purpose than what I'm doing right now. Because if I can build communities that generate multiple six figures for real estate, imagine what we can do together to build for recovery, for people who are literally fighting for their lives, for families desperate for hope. That's the real purpose. And that's what fires me up every morning now when I wake up. But there's one more important twist to this story. See, I've been in the recovery world for almost 17 years. It literally saved my life. And all this time I've been building communities for businesses, I kept thinking about the recovery community that saved me almost 17 years ago. And what if I could use everything that I've learned, the video skills, the community building, the connection strategies to help other people who are fighting for their lives? That's why the Empowered Recovery Collective isn't just another project. It's me taking 9 years of community building experience and 17 years in the recovery community and pointing it at something that is actually going to impact people in a very, very positive way. Because this is way bigger than just business. This is about proving that communities can actually change lives. I know this might sound like a lot, right? And it took me 9 years to figure out my purpose, leaving this $1 million business and taking on a challenge this massive. I actually have a goal in my head to raise $1 million in the next 12 months, right? But I'm starting small. I'm not going all the way there yet. But here's what I want you to understand. You probably already have a skill or a passion that could change everything for you. You just might not see it yet, like I didn't. Maybe you're a business owner who feels like something's missing, like I felt. Maybe you've been touched by addiction or recovery, like I have and millions of other people. Maybe you just know you're meant for something way more than just making money. If you are, drop a comment below. Tell me what kind of community that you're looking to build. Share your story, right? If you've been touched by recovery or have been affected by it in some way, addiction in your life or someone else's life, someone that you care about, make sure you follow along and follow in the Empowered Recovery Collective, because here's what 9 years taught me. When you stop chasing money and start building community, you don't just change your business, you change lives, starting with your own.